I'm from after street fights, they bring a tech. Hey, King J, what we tell him? Back on.
Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy King J, but I'm not here alone. I'm here with Mr. Midas Games. Yo, what's going on? What's going on,
my brother? Thank you so much for having me.
No problem, man. You know, I know we both love Final Fantasy VII, and I know that you've completed it, I've completed it, and I just wanted to have this conversation because it doesn't feel the same having conversation on my own about Final Fantasy. We know that there's a lot of theories and stuff like that, and it's good to kind of bounce off the theories off to someone else. And, you know, I know you love the game as well. So, you know, Final Fantasy VII Remake has been out for, I'd say it's been out for over a month now, right? Because it came out
on April 10th, my birthday.
Oh, yeah. See what I'm saying? Came out on your birthday.
It was a present to me.
Damn. Yeah, you had the perfect present, right? But yeah, so obviously Final Fantasy VII came out around April the 10th. How did you feel about playing the anticipation of the game and playing the game? How do you feel about it?
So I'm one of the few people who were really excited for a remake, because I know a lot of people were kind of dubious them actually making a remake. Yeah. But I love Final Fantasy VII. Like, it's my favorite video game world. Like, Cloud Strife is like one of my favorite video game protagonists. I love the world. I love the music. Like, I'm so much into the lore of the game. Like, obviously, I've completed Final Fantasy VII. I love the Advent Children. I played Crisis Core, so I know all about Zack. I remember when I used to play the Cydia just so I could have a Cloud that looked sick. So I just loved that world. So I've been wanting a Final Fantasy remake for forever. I remember like being in my yard watching E3 when they was doing the announcement, and I saw Midgar, and I was like, no, they can't, fam. They can't do this. And then you see Cloud and you see Barrett walk in, and I was losing my mind. So like, I love this game. This game means the world to me. Mm-hmm. And like, I'm not like super, like, I'm not one of them people like, oh my God, graphics mean everything. Like, I love a game to look good. And I love Final Fantasy VII, but the graphics are dead. I don't care what anybody says, the graphics are dead. Like, Cloud looks like couple triangles and squares, and it's only in the fight scenes where it looks proper good. And to be able to play that game with those characters that I love so much, looking so incredible. Like, fam, I don't know how the PS4 does it. Like, how is it making it look that good? Like, it was incredible to me.
Yeah, no, definitely. I feel like Final Fantasy VII, again, playing the OG one, the graphics weren't that great, but it did tell a very, very good story. It made a lot of people back then emotionally invested and even mentally invested, because everyone used to talk about theories of, you know, was Sephiroth real, and was this Sephiroth real, and it had so much different theories, and it's good. Now, bringing that back into like Final Fantasy VII Remake, I know a lot of people, again, the battle system, they were like, I'm unsure, it's not the traditional turn-based Final Fantasy VII from the OG game, but it's like, damn, the battle system is so great. The battle system's so great. The way how it just freezes, it's like, all right, you're making a decision now, and you're on the menu, just trying to make a decision, and it's just, the attack is happening, but it's so slow, and it's just like, you can make a decision in this slow motion, or you can change over to the other character while you're making a decision. All of these things were just, they were mind-blowing. They were mind-blowing to me.
I actually can't believe they got the fighting so right. Because like turn-based fighting is sick, where it's very simple. Like, it's a very simple mechanic, and there's certain games that have kind of taken it to the next level, like the Persona series, and they've kind of taken turn-based to like a whole next level. But having like, I don't feel like Square has done amazing when it comes to real-time action in any of the Final Fantasy games. Like, Final Fantasy 15, the fighting was okay. It wasn't great. But I also feel like Final Fantasy 15 was a testing bed for them to see how they really can get it right. And I think they've got it so good. And like you said, what's really cool is because you get to choose what moves you're doing, it actually brings that whole turn-based thing anyway, because you're slashing, because you literally only got 2 hits. It's like the square, I think it's square and triangle. So you got a normal hit and a harder hit. And then the rest is all about going into options, and the way the slow down matrix thing is so sick. It gives you time to actually think. So they kept that kind of turn-based thing, and for people who hate that, you can just kind of action it to a button. So
yeah,
fam, it's just sick. It's so slick. Like, the boss battles are proper long, but you just want to fight all the time in this game.
trust me. And you know, with the boss battles, they had different phases of the songs. Like the Genova one had 3 different phases. When you're fighting the Airbuster, 3 different phases. Like the sound, oh my god, the sound, like the audio was ridiculous.
That soundtrack slaps. And you know what's mad as well? What some people don't even realize, like, they'll have a normal song that you'll be like when you're running on the street, but as soon as you turn the battle, it's the same song but a hype version of it. Yeah, and then as soon as the battle ends, it just seamlessly goes into the normal song.
Too sick.
Cold.
Too
Cold.
sick.
So cold.
We got to get into, like, obviously this is the spoiler part. Obviously if you ain't played it, it's been a month now, so that's the reason why I kind of left it a little long now, so for everyone to play it. But if you lot do not want spoilers, this would be the time to click off. But we need to talk about the ending. We need to talk about the ending. So obviously people are talking about different time zones, obviously, because they're saying Zack might be alive, Zack might not be. The one that the Midgard that he saw wasn't exactly the Midgard that was in the timeline of the present Cloud. So little things like this, the dogs is Stamp was the dog.
Yeah.
So there was 2 different stamps. So in Zack's one, where you see the packet of, I don't know what it was, a sweet or crisps or whatever.
Yeah, it looks like crisp packet.
Yeah, that stamp looked different than the one that was in the present time. So
yeah, it was 2 different dogs, innit?
Right. So everyone's thinking, okay, so it must be different time zones. Not only that, there's also talks about what Sephiroth was what as well. That gets a bit confusing, but some people have explained it. But what I'm trying to get at now is, what do you think actually happened?
Before we get to that, I've got to say, so the last chapter is obviously not in the OG FF7.
Nope.
Fam, that fight with Sephiroth is basically Advent Children. So if you've seen Advent Children, the animated Final Fantasy VII film, like that fight when all of when they come together and become Sephiroth, like you're literally doing that fight. Again. Do you know how sick that is? Like, it is so sick. I was like, I am playing Advent Children right now. I never thought that would be possible. But yeah, like you're saying, like there's so much theories. So my theories, firstly, are that I kind of feel like Aerith is not normal. I feel like that Aerith is come like from another time zone, because she knows way too much things, fam. Like when they're trying to go back to the bar and Tifa's like panicking and Aerith is like, don't worry, we're gonna try and get there in time. And Tifa's like, what do you know? And Aerith's acting mad sketchy. It's like she knows way too much, fam. She knows way too much. And that scene basically, so Zack, super spoiler if you haven't played FF7 or Crisis Core, Zack is basically Cloud. So Cloud isn't a soldier. Cloud's just a normal brother, and he basically he wasn't a soldier. He was just like a mercenary. The guys with the free things on their helmet.
Troop.
Yeah, the Shinra troops. And he basically got put into. He got like that he got the
macro poison.
He got the magna poison, and they done experiments on him to make him just like a soldier. But all of his memories and his thoughts, they're all from Zack. So Zack dies at the end of Crisis Core. So at the end of Crisis Core, it's proper sad, fam. Like, you're playing and all of them soldiers come and you keep fighting, but they don't stop coming until you die. Like, you just can't win the fight. So you just keep fighting until they kill you. It's not even like after a while, you're just dead. No, you fight it. Like, you're feeling mad upset because you're like, I know I gotta die, but I'm fighting as much as I can. So for Zack not to be dead is madness. And then the thing that I think is the most madness is when Zack's carrying Cloud and and Aerith walks, they both smile. So it's like they can sense each other. So I do completely think you're right. I think it's two different time zones, but I don't think Aerith is. I think this Aerith is from the past, fam. So when Aerith died in the original, I think this Aerith has come back, just like Sephiroth is come back. I feel like Aerith has come back as well.
You know what?
Madness.
That's one I've not heard of, and it sounds good because, you know, even at the edge of creation, he's like, oh, you got seven seconds. Sephiroth says to the Cloud, you got 7 seconds. What would you do with it? So it's like, oh, why is he saying that? Like, how does Sephiroth know about what's going on? What is the edge of creation? Do you know what I mean? So it does make sense. But one thing I didn't realize, and, you know, I was talking to a friend about, is, so you see the Whisperers of Fate, there's 3 of them, right? There's 3 that you had to fight before. No, this before the Sephiroth one. So those 3 are meant to be...
Kadaj.
Yes,
Kadaj. Yeah, fam. It's mad. I told you, it's Advent Children, fam.
Yes.
It's literally Advent Children.
Because their weapons are the name the same as them. Plus, if you don't want to believe me with that, when do you fight Neo Bahamut? If you look at Final Fantasy VII Advent Children, you have to face Neo Bahamut. They summon him.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they did. They went all together.
Yeah. And in the descriptions, it tells you it's their weapons.
Right. So yeah, that's what makes it even more mad. It's like, whoa. But they don't. You have to proper like dive in. You can't just see it from face value. You have to be like, all right. So this is these 3. So then that's why you face Sephiroth at the end.
Yeah.
And it's like the same type of settings where, you know, he's on floating buildings. You know, it's crazy. One thing I don't like though is I feel like the Sephiroth fight was it felt like they forced Sephiroth in a bit too much at the end. It was like, you know, you go through the story. This is kind of like where the OG part is. They go through this part where, you know, there's no, they say how if you go through this, there's no return. That could be the alternate timing. The time zone. We don't know in it. I don't know in it. It seems to me that there's something there that Aerith knows more than the previous Aerith knows. Yeah. If that makes sense. Because she's more in that. She didn't know in the OG
She's so
one.
clued up, fam. She's so clued up on this one. But do you know what? So I was talking to Rob from PlayStation Access about this, and he was saying that he feels like Sephiroth was kind of shoehorned in, and it kind of takes away the mystery. But what I was explaining to him is Final Fantasy VII, like the franchise has been around for so many years. Sephiroth is not a mystery anymore. People know who Sephiroth is, and he's part of that world. So, like, me and you who've completed OG get that, all right, he wasn't there before. But if you've never played, like, OG Final Fantasy and you're playing Final Fantasy VII Remake as your first Final Fantasy, the guy that you know as Cloud's arch nemesis, the guy that every game, like every Dissidia, every Advent Children, Kingdom Hearts, every single thing that Square's push as this is this guy's rival, and then he's not in the game. It wouldn't make any sense. Like the mystery, like if we played it and he weren't there, that the mystery's kind of gone. Like he's been promoted as Cloud's rival forever. It's like if they remade Street Fighter 1, fam, and didn't have M. Bison in it, or just had Ryu and didn't have Ken in it. It's like you like to keep the mystery. You can't, like, that mystery's gone. That mystery's done long time ago. We've already invested in that character, so it makes sense for that character to be there throughout. And the only way it kind of makes sense for them to be able to do that in that way is make it so confusing. You're like, is he? The thing that I didn't like is sometimes, like, one thing that really bugged me was like bare times Cloud was like bugging out, and you see Sephiroth, and then no one was like, are you okay? Like, what's happened? What? Like, they'll be like, you okay? And you'd be like, yeah. And then they'll just act like it's normal. And then when they did see Sephiroth, Cloud wasn't like, I've been seeing him for time. Is this the first time you're seeing him? Because imagine he keeps seeing him, and then he's always not him. And then the one time at the end, when they like Genova, it is him and everyone else sees him. And no one was he wasn't even like, oh, you can actually see him this time. I'm not actually going mad.
That's what I'm saying. It didn't make... Some of the times it didn't really make sense. Because, like, if I see my friend is bugging out and you say, oh, okay, yeah. But you keep seeing him bugging out. Well, why are you not gonna check up on him? It don't make sense. So
Yeah.
that doesn't really make that part never really made sense to me. Also, other things that I think didn't make, I think what could have been better with Sephiroth is, I understand what you're saying with like the whole mystery part, but I feel like the way how Final Fight 7 was is that your enemy was always Shinra. You Avalanche versus Shinra. That's how it was at the start when you're in Midgar. But once you go past Midgar, obviously you see this guy, this mysterious guy. He stabs the president. You're like, bro, who's this guy? So much power. Then you leave Midgar. Then it's like, bro, we need to go after Sephiroth. That's how it always was. But I feel like I kind of liked it in that aspect because it kind of had a clear vision of who you're against. See what I'm saying? Yeah. It's A, B. Not Midgar, Shinra versus Avalanche. Then once you finish that part, it's like, all right, well, damn, we got to go after this Sephiroth guy. Who is he? But I felt like they pushed Sephiroth in from the start. So it's like, all right, now you got these Whisperers now. What is Whisperers? Kind of remind me of Kingdom Hearts, I'm not going to lie. The whole cloak figures and all of that stuff and all circulating around. I don't know. Again, like I said, your theory makes a lot of sense because maybe that's where it is that maybe, in the end of OG, Final Fantasy VII, when the live stream was trying to fight off the meteor and stuff like that, maybe she does somehow manage to go back in time and then go through it and then try to find out, how to prevent this from happening again. These type of theories are very good.
Yeah, this mad fam, but it's weird because see, you say that, but I always saw it as Cloud's enemy. I always felt like it was Avalanche against Shinra, and Cloud was just there. I never felt like he's real. I never felt like he really had Shinra as his enemy.
I agree.
So I almost like that now. From the beginning, his enemy is there, and to be honest with you, the way Final Fantasy Remake plays, I don't even feel like it even show you that it's his enemy. I feel like he's tormenting him. I almost feel like he's bullying him, like he's tormenting him. Like Cloud is so lost in the source that thing. I'll tell you one thing that I think is dumb though. Super, super dumb. When they're in the lab and I can't remember his name, that doctor.
Hojo.
The evil Hojo says to Cloud, you're not a soldier. Mm-hmm. And then obviously Cloud can't hear it because of like he's got this shit going on in his brain. The Whisperers stop him from hearing that because he's not meant to find out that until later in the game. Why no one else mentioned it? Because obviously Tifa's always known, and Tifa's not told him because Tifa's always known that he wasn't really a soldier and all of that because she was there. But what about Barrett? And that didn't know. Yeah, and Barrett wasn't like, what do you mean, fam? What do you mean he's not a soldier? The whole time he's been telling me he's a soldier. How is he not a soldier, fam? Like, how did they just not? They just like, okay, let's just leave that to the side.
Yeah, it didn't make sense. I was literally looking at it, I was like, huh? So no one pulled it up. Like,
it didn't make sense. But you know what? This game is so good that even things that don't make sense just work.
Because of the theories. Theories.
Yeah. It just works. And also it works because the game's not finished. Because the game isn't finished, it could go anywhere. Yeah. Where if they completed the whole game and then none of this makes sense, everyone's going to be like, what kind of idiot thing is this? Why did they even do that?
But that's the problem though, because that's happened with Kingdom Hearts 3. Happened with Kingdom Hearts 3, happened with Final Fantasy 15. These are games that, people have been like, oh yeah, you know what, like Kingdom Hearts I was looking forward to for so long. Like I was invested, played all the other games and stuff like that. Came to Kingdom Hearts 3 and yeah, that was just a waste of time. Same with Final Fantasy 15. It was like, oh yeah, you know what, they've been spending so long on this game. I'm interested. And then I'm playing it and I decide, bro, I don't know what the hell's going on. And then it's like, yeah, you got to get all the DLC to understand. I'm like, yo, got all the DLC. I still don't understand. So I'm just like, all right,
do you know what though? Like, if we're really honest, that's probably been something that Square's done for years. Because Final Fantasy X, for me, is one of the best in the series. Incredible. I hate the ending. The ending is so dumb. Like the incredible game. Spoiler for Final Fantasy X if you haven't completed it. you're just a dream. You're not a real person. So
Yeah.
you've been fighting this whole game, and then they're like, no, man's just a dream, and then you disappear. I was like, what do you mean? That is
Didn't
so
make no sense.
dumb. So I think Square have been doing that for time, fam. Like, I think because their games are so good, we give them a lot of credit, but their games don't finish great. But some of the greatest games in the world don't finish great. Like, most people hate the ending of The Last of Us.
Yeah. I would need to play that. That's another game I need to play, actually. I ain't played The Last of Us.
Yeah. People, I won't spoil it for you, but a lot of people hate the ending of that. So some incredible games is movies, franchises, like people hate the end of Game of Thrones. Like, some of the biggest things are built up so much that it can never please all of the people. And I think the reason why they put the Whisperers is in because I think they want to tell their story. And I think the Whisperers is to tell people, no. This isn't the Final Fantasy VII you want. This is the Final Fantasy we want. And every single time, like, you're like, no, it can't be like that. We'll bring in the Whisperers. Because how is Sephiroth killing Barrett?
Yeah, that didn't make sense either. I was like, so where do you think these Whisperers come from then? Because I don't understand it at all. I thought the Whisperers are the people. So like in the OG Final Fantasy, there was people that went in to try and seek the Promised Land. So they were like, I would say Sephiroth's followers. I still think that with these lot, however, I'm a bit confused because then some of the followers are people that Sephiroth can manipulate. Like Marco was one of them, and another one was, I can't remember who the other one was, but he manipulated two of the people. Because from what I remember, Sephiroth is in the Northern Crater throughout the whole game.
So I think they are basically like the combatants of time. So I think they were there because Final Fantasy VII, that time has done. So that timeline has been experienced. So I think there's going to be like multiple timelines, like in like the Marvel universe, multiple timelines that are all running concurrent at the same time. And then Final Fantasy VII has happened. That timeline has happened. And then in another timeline, Final Fantasy VII Remake is happening. And those goals are like, no, we have to keep everything the same. Everything has to be on that same timeline. And I think the reason why Chapter 18 happened, because Chapter 18 is a new chapter. None of that stuff was in OG. I think Chapter 18 was you beating time. So you had to beat time. So I don't think the Whisperers are going to be in the rest of the series. I think the Whisperers are only going to be in that first one because I think now you've defeated time because they're there for time to stop you from anything going wrong. So like in the first timeline, Barrett didn't die. Bring him back to thingy. Bring him back to life. You're going to tell Cloud that he's not a soldier. No, that doesn't happen. Let's hold you away. All of those things is keeping the time intact. And I feel like now they've defeated time, like it's just going to play as a game.
Yeah. No, that makes sense, man. That definitely makes sense. I agree. It just, for me, it's just like, wow. How does it even make sense? You know what? When you defeat the big Whisperer, and then the time goes, it definitely, it's crazy. It's crazy. There's so much to talk about with the theories, but you know what? We're just gonna have to wait till the other game. How excited are you for the second part of it, man? I'm excited.
Out of a excitement from 1 to 10, I'm 72.
Yeah. Me 777, boy. 777.
Fam, like Final Fantasy VII is my favorite game ever, and like for them, like the combat system's amazing, the music's amazing, the art style's amazing. I didn't even know the PS4 could make games look that good. Like it's just beautiful. It sounds amazing. I just can't wait to continue this story.
Alright, sick, man. Well, thank you for jumping on, man. I really appreciate it. Mr. Midas, shout out to you for coming on. If you've got any socials, let them know where they can find you. I know you're doing YouTube as well, so, put that out there as well, man.
Definitely. So you can find me on everything is Mr. Midas Games, Midas spelled Midas. And yeah, I'm a big JRPG guy, big third-person action-adventure guy. I've recently done a video on YouTube saying, is Final Fantasy VII Remake the best Final Fantasy, so make sure you check that out. Make sure you drop me a sub. Any comments in my comments in YouTube, I respond to everything. Hit me up on Twitter if you want to talk about gaming. I'm always happy to talk to people. And yeah, make sure you look out for me on Jinx TV and check my show GGR on GRM Daily. And you might see his face as well. You get me? Might see his face on my show too.
Alright, bro, take it easy, man. Shout out to everyone. Make sure you go check him out. Remember, if you like this video and you want more, remember to write a comment in the comment section down below. Remember to subscribe as well. Obviously, that supports the channel. And subscribing on YouTube is free, so you don't lose out on anything. And yeah, take it easy, everyone. Until next time. Peace.
Simmer down. Simmer now. Couple kicks to your boat, I'm a winner now. Like Eddie with the feet, I'm a killer now. Simmer down. Simmer now.